Okay, we began Perek Yud Beis of Nefesh HaChaim, and what was introduced here is the inyan of Naran, which is a key issue in understanding the world of the neshama, and talk about the fact that the neshama I believe should not be seen as something that a person has, like you have a kidney, like I have a neshama. Neshama is a very sophisticated thing. We have to understand where it is. There's discussion where it is. People say, my neshama, my neshama, if you're a Litvak, like where is the neshama? What is the neshama? And it requires a sort of a pathology to understand what it is. I was thinking that, like, as time goes on, it's the mashal, like as time goes on, so because of the world of science, so so things become much more detailed in our understanding of them. Like there was a time in the history of medicine and nutrition, not too long ago, maybe 100 years ago, that it didn't make any difference what you ate. Make no difference what you ate, because whatever it is, the body picks out what it needs and takes it, and it's nutritional. So just whatever you eat, your body takes what it is and does it, and then which probably has a lot of emes to it. I'm not a nutritionist, but it probably has a lot of truth to it. The body will find its protein, the body will find its carbohydrates, the body will find, but together with the fact that people were unhealthy and diets changed, so the scientists discovered that there are macronutrients. So in other words, you can't just say whatever it is. Let's break it down. Does it have carbohydrates? Does it have protein? How does it digest? And then all of a sudden we realized you can tweak and say, let me eat less carbohydrates and more protein. Let me eat more things like that. And then it came down today. They talk micronutrients as opposed to macronutrients, where you can even understand in carbohydrates, there's vegetables, there's cake, everything is broken down. It's not at all so simple. So it gets more sophisticated. So to say that, to just take my nimshal, to say that we have a neshama is like very amateur. It's like saying I'm alive. What is alive? We're not amateurs. So the Nefesh HaChaim is bringing us into the world of neshama and tells us that neshama is divided into three places. The Arizal speaks about this at length. He has a whole section on Naran, and of course it comes from the Zohar that the neshama has to be divided into nefesh, ruach, neshama, three things. So the nefesh being that which is closest to us, closest to our heart, is the nefesh. And think while we're talking about this, if you start thinking about all the psukim that just come to mind. Nefesh ki yechta. Nefesh ki yechta. Yoshua, Isha sharuach boy. Neshama is kimat not in Chumash, not in Chumash, and kimat not in Tanakh. The idea of neshama itself. But the neshama is a catch-all phrase for really the three things. And nefesh, which is closest to us, and ruach, which is somewhat above us, and neshama, which is the highest level. What's the difference if it's 3 parts or 10 parts? The Mekubalim tells us there's another couple of parts to this. There's chaya yechida. Keeps on going. So I believe this, which I explained last on Sunday, that it's not, the idea is not the how to analyze our neshama. The idea is this is all about hiskashrus. Hiskashrus is our connection with that which is above us, ultimately connecting to the Borei Olam. So here we are in this world as human beings, and what distinguishes us from, let's say, rabbits, or squirrels. So the answer is the neshama. Maybe they also have some kind of neshama, but it's basically what makes the difference is that we can attach to, we can hook up to a higher authority. or we could hook up to closer to the Bria. Just also, let's keep in mind the tefillah that we say, Elikai. Neshama shenosata bi tahirahi. Ata vrasa, ata yitzarta, ata nefachta bi. So first of all, as I pointed out, there's a B. So B is what's called in the Sfarim the golem. The Rambam likes to call it the golem. Golem is just like a clay body, like Pinocchio. You could. I made it out of clay. A golem, like the Maral's golem. Like just here I am, a goof. The Rambam tells us that an animal is also like a golem, and with some kind of a nefesh. So what we're talking about here, first and foremost, is that we're talking about that through my goof, I could access my nefesh. We all understand that. We all understand that we can make decisions, we can be good people, bad people, have good personalities, bad personalities. We all understand that. We don't have to walk around like behemoths. I don't know if behemoth could work on his midos. Maybe you could train it, but it's not. It's a little bit different, I think. It's not just training. But it's through our goof we could access our nefesh, which we need to explain. If our nefesh is in shape, we could access our ruach. It's so important that the only place where neshama that I can think of is mentioned in the Chumash, even though I said it wasn't mentioned in the Chumash. It is mentioned in the Chumash here. Bereshis is vayipach ba'ap of nishmas chaim, that Hashem gave Adam Arishain a neshama. Before that, it says v'haya l'nefesh chaya. He was a nefesh. So nefesh chaya. Rashi says nefesh chaya. He was a nefesh. He was like an animal, just like there was all kinds of animals in the Garden of Eden. There was worms. There was animals, horses, maybe, I don't know. Who was running around the Garden of Eden? But nefesh chaya. Rashi says that he was a nefesh chaya. Who was the uber nefesh. He was like the best nefesh there, Adam. Chashuva nefesh, but just a nefesh. Vayipach ba'ap of nishmas chayim, the Targum famously says that vayipach ba'ap of nochach be ruach. So what happened was that Adam Arisha there in Gan Eden was upgraded from nefesh to nefesh v'ruach, hence neshama. So it's so interesting that the upgrade was to go from nefesh chaya to ruach v'malala, which the Chumash calls. Oh, now we're talking neshama, and I'll explain to you why. It's only now that we're talking neshama. If he was walking and talking, or maybe just walking and feeling, so why wasn't he a neshama before that? It was just a nefesh chaya. So. A quick review of what we learned on Sunday was the nefesh itself is divided into two. The nefesh, there's a lashon of the Balatanya, which he gets from the Shlit'a Kadosh, which comes from earlier, the Maral even, which is called the Nefesh HaBahamis. The lashon of the Ramchal and the Gra, they took a different lashon. They didn't talk about Nefesh HaBahamis, to my knowledge. They talked about Nefesh HaChiyuni. Oto davar. Chiyuni, lashon chai. Same thing. Chiyuni.
Is it needed?
What?
Critical and needed? Essential?
No, as an alive. That which gives the life force of a person. That's what modern Hebrew Tziyoni means, essential. But, it is essential. I mean, so the thing is like this. If you look at the Rambam in Hilchos Yisodei HaTorah says that when we die, which everybody does, when we die, so what's dying over here? What the Indian of Misa, as the always, the Indian of Misa is it's also an Indian. the Indian of Misa is the death, or the death, or the collapse, or the of the Nefesh HaBahamis, Nefesh HaChiyuni. Neshama doesn't die, but the Nefesh does. The Nefesh HaBahamis does. Nefesh HaChiyuni dies. I must mention the joke that our ninth grade Rebbe told us that they dug up. He's talking about tzaddikim that don't decompose. There's such a thing, you know. They dug up tzaddikim like 100 years later. They didn't decompose. I don't know what that's all about, but they talk about it. So our Rebbe told us that they dug up Beethoven, and he was decomposing. Okay. I think that's the only thing I remember from my ninth grade. This joke, you know, it was a deep joke. Okay, so the Nefesh HaBahamis is, let's look at the Nefesh HaBahamis as the life force within a person. If you need to define death, which is a very rabbinic thing to have to do, like is he dead or is he not dead, you have right away, you get into a conflict between Torah and science. What's the moment of death? Just like there's a big machlokas about the moment of life, it's actually the same machlokas as the machlokas of what is the moment of death. Now the scientists, as they get more and more sophisticated, they want to talk about brain waves and brain stem and things like that, you know, which is, you know, okay. In other words, what they're really talking about is what's the difference if he's alive or dead, if he's comatose, if there's no brain waves going on, what's the difference? Everybody knows that that's not the halacha. The halacha is that it has to do mostly with breath, not even with heartbeat, mostly with breath. At the time of the Shulchan Aruch, it says in your day, you take a feather, put it in front of his nose, and see if the feather moves. If there's the slightest breath, he's alive. If there's no breath, then he's not alive. You can also measure breath by heartbeat, because if there's no breath, there's no heartbeat. Or let's put it differently: if there's no heartbeat, there's no breath. I'm saying this for a reason, not to give a science class because I'm not qualified. But what's so important is that the Torah talks about nefesh. 8 times it says, "Don't eat blood." Why is this so important? Don't eat blood. 8 times, and the Torah says the reason. Ki hadam hu nefesh. Lachen. Don't eat chickens because chickens are ruach. I mean, what's the nakuda? Just think about it for a second. Just don't eat dam. It's the worst thing in the world you can eat. It's worse than chazer. Don't eat dam. It says it 8 times. It doesn't say chazer 8 times. It's 8 times. The Gemara makes a point to this. That 8 times. Nizer al adam. Ki adam hu nefesh. So you're eating the nefesh. What's the difference? You're eating the steak. You usually eat the nefesh. What's the?
Could you eat nefesh?
Huh?
How could you eat nefesh?
Oh, because it's not talking. It's not. What's the nefesh that you're eating? It's the nefesh habahamis. If you take an animal and you're being really what the real shot is the Gemara Menachos. There's Zvachim rather. The Gemara Zvachim says that you can only eat something. You can't eat dam. Yeah, dam hu nefesh. You can only eat things which are nikra v'halam mizbeach. So like a dam b'hal chishtayim is kosher. But the obak hadavar is that you're eating the light. You can eat a piece of meat, meaning you can be ba'ala it from its state of walking around nefesh habahamis from behema. You can be ba'ala to make it adam. They say over that you know like another thing that used to like that's new is eating salad. You know, like in the time of the Gemara, so salad was considered meichel behema.
That's grass.
Grass. When the animals go to eat, people don't eat salads. It's like Michael Bahema Subin. You know, it's a Michael Ziburius. It's salad. You know, they say that they brought Rabbi Moshe Feinstein, Zecher Tzadik Livracha. They brought him a salad at a wedding. He said, "Take it back and bring it to me when it's a cow." It's Michael Bahema. Okay, so we've come to understand that this too is important. But the point is that you could take something, and you could be malet ala mizbeach, or you could eat it and use it for your own personal nefesh, which will then house the nefesh ruach neshama. So the nefesh habahamis. Hadam hu nefesh leaves the nefesh habahamis behind. That's not what you're supposed to be eating. You're supposed to leave the Nefesh HaBahamis behind. And this is not a deep thing. This is Pashup Shah. And now use it for your nefesh to make yourself healthy. And you don't want to ingest the Nefesh HaBahamis. That's not of an animal. That's not what you want to do. You want to be mala the Nefesh HaBahamis. You with me on this? So what we need to understand here is that what we start this thing rolling. First of all, there's a goof, and the goof is a golem. The goof, Hashem gave it Nefesh HaBahamis. Trust me on this, that the Sfarim say this is intrinsic to the person. Meaning it's not something this was not part of the Vayipach Ba'ap of Nishmas Chaim. This is there. We don't find Vayipach Ba'ap of Nishmas Chaim by horses, and lions, and tigers, and bears. But they're alive. And as the Rambam says, that they're hunting and they're being maharer and they're doing all kinds of human things and many things. As David once pointed out, they do much better than people. Remember you showed me a video? They're doing much people. A cat can see much further than a person. A leopard can run much faster than a person. They're much better than us at these things. In terms of nefesh, Gavaldik and Nefesh HaBahamis, that's how Kadosh Baruch Hu created them. That's clear. An animal, a non-Jew, a Torah Jew, Orthodox Jew, everybody has got a Nefesh HaBahamis. And you have to take care of that. Shmartem es lafshoy seichem. It's talking about the Nefesh HaBahamis. If it's talking about health at all, it's talking about the Nefesh HaBahamis. That's what it's talking about. What's the pshat of this Nefesh HaBahamis? The pshat of the Nefesh HaBahamis is it's a keli to hold what's called in the lashon of both the Balatanya and the Ramchal to hold the Nefesh Elikis. Not Elikis, Elikis. Nefesh Elikis is already we're already outsourcing here. This is already something, this already begins the Vayipach Ba'ap of Nishmas Chaim. He took the Adam, and there was an interlock from the Nefesh HaBahamis and Nefesh Elikis. As the Nefesh HaChaim explains, this has Taryag, Rabbi Haber, this has Taryag, Mitzvah Mitzvah interlock, start the ball rolling, but it's a Milsa Deravya Olav. It's something which is not natural to the person. It's not something which is intrinsic to the person. It's Vayipach Ba'ap of Nishmas Chaim. What's what I think I might have said already, but it's a chiddush and it's not a chiddush, that probably, or possibly anyways, nobody knows for sure, but possibly Adam Arishad, like we have this view of him laying on the ground dead, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu blew life into his nostrils, lo nacham. He was probably walking around like a horse. He was v'hayil nefesh chaya. But what happened was HaKadosh Baruch Hu blew a neshama into him. That's a different story. Who said he wasn't walking around? The only thing we know is he wasn't talking. As horses do not talk, unless your name is Mr. Ed.
So he was an animal species.
Huh?
He was an animal species.
He was an animal species, but the mu'ula of the animal kingdom, and then he became a person. And
that's
is
his birthday when he
exactly right. That is the birthday when he got his neshama.
How does that explain the Nachash talking?
Nachash was talking. Okay, let's get there. But so there was no Vayipach Ba'ap of Nishmas.
No.
I don't know if we're talking the way we don't talking,
Okay.
but let's why is talking so important anyway. Okay, so that's really all we learned. I mean, now I want to tell you something very important. That the Nefesh Ruach Neshama, which breaks down in Lithuanian language to Machshava, Dibur, and Maisa. So says the Nefesh HaChaim. It's meaning Nefesh Ruach Neshama, that the Nefesh, now we're already talking about the Nefesh Elikis, is in charge of our Maisim. We do Maisim, you put on tzitzis, you give tzedakah with your Nefesh. It's very close to your Ratzon. Esther said, Lafshi b'shelasi. Tanakh here, Rabbi says, is very important. The words are very important. I want to quote you, the Rambam says in Hilchos Yesodei HaTorah, he said, I brought it, let me just see if I have the lashon quickly, but he says in Hilchos Yesodei HaTorah, just read you one sentence. This is in Perek Dalet Halacha Ches. Talks about what's the nefesh, what's the ruach, what's the tsura. That's a Rambam word, tsura. But he just this language. I want to read you the sentence. Lefichach tzarich lizar b'shemai shalai tite. Be very careful with these words, not to make a toast. Don't use, as the Rambam, the halacha of the Rambam, don't use catch-all phrases here. Shalotita. B'chol shem v'shem yilamed mein yanai. Every shame, when he's talking about nefesh, ruach, arba, yisod, and the way he puts it in Parak Daled B'Hilchos Yisodei HaTorah, which he wasn't teaching Kabbalah here, but the way he says it is as follows. He says that the everything in the world, this lashon is so telling here, everything in the world that was created, and here's everything in the world is created from the four Yesodos: Eish, Mayim, Ruach, Aretz. Earth, wind, and fire, and I always remember the Rocco, what's the other one? Earth, wind, fire, and water. Right? So water. So everything's created from those four things. Meaning, Hashem created the world. He created earth, wind, fire, and water, and from there He created everything else. The Arba Yesodos. Listen to this lashon of the Rambam. Arba gufim ha'ela shein eish, ruach, mayim, va'aretz, hem yesodos kol hanivrayim lamata min harakia. V'chol sheyiyah me'adam. Listen to this. Me'adam, me'behema, va'oif, v'remes, v'dag, v'tzomeach, u'mateches, v'avonim tovim, u'margolios, v'shar avnei binyan, v'horim, v'gushei afar. A list of the whole creation. Everything comes from Arba Yesodos. Hakol golmoi mechubar, hakol golmoi it's gashmias mechubar bi Arba Yesodos ha'elo nimsu. Kol hagufim shalamata min harakia, everything that's under the sky, chutz me Arba Yesodos ha'ela, except for the four Yesodos themselves. We know about wind today, right? It's like a pella. Mechubar migoylam v'tzura. Megoylam shalam mechubar me Arba Yesodos ha'elu. So everything is coming from these four Yesodos. I believe that Newton and after him Einstein argued with this and said that there's a nuclear theory, atomic theory, everything's made out of atoms, and it's not. So, this is I don't know if that's a kasha or it's a shiur, but it's something like what I said at the beginning, that we go from all food does its thing to macrobiology to microbiology. So, okay, now we've been able to break it down. Beautiful. We've been able to break down these Arba Yesodos to atoms, and we could say one atom has it in kilo, eish, mayim, ruach, and ar. So what? That's not it. But it still comes down to what the Rambam says, and I don't know if he saw it, but what the Zohar says, that it's all about the Arba Yesodos. But then he says that's the world of Gashmias. But now above that, HaKadosh Baruch Hu's Vayipach Ba'apav Nishmas Chayim. He took one bria and one bria only, and he gave it neshama. So the neshama is something from the outside that's coming out into the inside. That's the Rambam says. That's what everybody says. To put it into three, he gave him nefesh ruach neshama, or he gave him backwards maisa, dibur, and machshava. Nefesh is maisa, ruach is dibur, as we know, and neshama is machshava. It breaks down. This is really what I want to show you today. Either memorize this or write this down because this is so important. That everything spiritual has to break into these three categories. So, for instance, in mitzvahs, so you have mitzvahs maisios, you give tzedakah. You have mitzvahs and essay and lois essay, of course. And don't do this and do that. That's all maisios. You have mitzvahs of ruach, which has to do with dibur and the wider scope of dibur, which is my humanity, my ability to express myself, my ability to articulate. So that goes into ruach. There's all kinds of mitzvahs like Kriya Shema, and there's averas like lashon hara, which are all inyanim of dibur, and then there's inyanim of machshava. So, for instance, machshava of avodah zarah. That's one type of machshava of tshuva. So you have to, and therefore we say on Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur, uteshuva, utefila, utzedakah. Mavir dasrayas agzera. Teshuva is the machshava. The main thing is tshuva. You just do tshuva b'maisa, it's garnished. If you just speak tshuva, it doesn't mean anything either. But but tshuva utefila elinadim of dibor utzedakah elinadim of ma'isa ma'avir nisrei as a gzeira. Do you understand this? It means that if you there's a gzeira, so the gzeira has to be tukan on three levels because it's all about these three levels. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us this neshama, has nefesh ruach and neshama. Now, if you want to clear, what do we say these days? Drain the swamp, right? You want to clear the pipe, right? So,
Tabula rasa.
So you have to, yes. So if you want to clear the pipe, so uteshuva, utefila, utzedakah, ba'avir nasrei ha'gzeira. And the gzeira is, well, I'm sick, chas v'shalom. So that's the gzeira, but you got to go. That's what we're saying over there. You got to go all the way up. What's fascinating is the same trifecta happens in Beis-Din, because Beis-Din has, there's such a thing as a lav shein bo ma'isa. So what's a lav shein bo ma'isa? It means that it's not in the world of nefesh. So lav sheyesh boy ma'isa malkin alav, lav shein boy ma'isa ein loikin alav. Says the Gemara Kegoyim mevaz Talmud Chacham, or lashon hara, or there's all kinds of cases. So Beis-Din can only give makos, which is a lamaisa dekaoinish, you're hitting the guy. He can only give makos on an aveira sheyesh boy ma'isa. Because why? Because their tikkun is in the world of ma'isa. You did a kilkul in the world of ma'isa. Let's do a tikkun in the world of ma'isa. Let's say makos. Let's say you did a kilkul in the world of dibur.
Tzedakah.
Cherem. Who said that? Cherem. And nidui. So cherem and nidui is the base that comes together, doesn't hit you, we just talk about you. And we say that this person is in cherem, this person, by the way, this is not a wacky thing, this is a whole section of Shulchan Aruch, Hilchos nidui v'charabim, that you put somebody in nidui, so that's dibur keneged dibur. And if a person does a chet,
don't talk with anyone.
what? Where you don't talk with anybody, nobody talks with you.
In the time based on you would have been a Matzori, he would have had physical...
Same thing, that is a cherem, that is a nidui.
Okay.
So, and then there's the Indian of a chet b'machshava, that let's say somebody does avodah zarah or arayis b'machshava, so it's not okay to fantasize an arayis. You can fantasize about eating, pork if you are so inclined, but you can't fantasize. That's why you're allowed to eat bakos and things like that. But you can't fantasize about arayis, and you can't fantasize about avodah zarah because the chet is in machshava. That's where the problem is. It's not a problem of just lemaisa. The problem is machshava. So if the problem is machshava, what do? We call the Beis-Din calls them a mubar. You have no nemanis. You're a mubar. We can't trust you. It's a different than that we don't talk to you. We don't trust you. So the eilish is so you have, just like you have machshava dibur ma'isa in the Metzias or nefesh ruach neshama, you also have it in the eilish shabai. In the Tshuva itself, the Rambam tells us, has three major components. The first thing is lamaisa. You have to stop doing the chet that you're doing. The second thing is vidu. You have to stop. You have to talk about the avera that you did. And the third thing is charata and kabbalah. Those are in yanam of machshava. So in yanam of machshava, so you have machshava dibur ma'isa. You can't do tshuva just stopping to do the thing. That's not going to. First of all, it's not going to work. It's not going to work, and you didn't make any tikkun. A behavioristic stopping of the thing, or tying my hands and not letting me do an avera, is a nice start, but that's not what tshuva is. Tshuva is nefesh, ruach, and neshama. That's the way tshuva works. See, let me say something a little bit radical here, but it's okay. I mean, I'm right about this. When you if you not just say Tillim, but if you learn Tillim and you read it carefully, we spent half a year or so learning Tillim here, but night after Meyer. I don't know why I stopped, but we should continue doing it. I think it was a very beautiful thing, the Tillim. So Tillim is divided into three types of Tillim, Mizmarim, etc. But a large part of Tehillim, where David HaMelech, the part that appeals to us as struggling human beings, Tillim, learn Tillim, say Tillim, is all about Ruchi. Ruchi. V'ruach kadshecha al tikach mimeni. it's all about ruach. If you look, almost every pasuk, I could collect that for you, but it's like it's David HaMelech was talking about ruach. Here's the radical part. Most of that Tehillim, the Rishonim say, was David HaMelech struggling with the chet of Bathsheba. Now, it's important to understand this. What was his struggle? He felt that his son was running after him to kill him. Shaul was running after him to kill him. He was hiding. His people abandoned him at one time. If you read through Tanakh and you juxtapose it with Tehillim, he was struggling. And he felt it was all because of the chet of Bathsheba. Mitzad acher, the Gemara says, Kol ha'omer sheDavid HaMelech chata ein elo toya. Well, David HaMelech did no chet at all. The borrower that David HaMelech, Zecher Tzadik Levracha, put on tefillin every day and kept Shabbos and kept kosher, and this was not his struggle, and even the Maisa of Bathsheba, he was machshir. The Gemara explains why this was a kosher Maisa. Hence the Gemara says, Kol ha'omer sheDavid HaMelech chata ein elo toya. There was no chet there. What David HaMelech's struggle was not in the world of nefesh. I took care of that. But where's my ruach? What would bring me to do this? Whoa, so that's already ruach kadshecha al tikach mimeni. I was machshir everything in the world of Maisa. But what about where's my dibur? With Bathsheba? Where's my machshava? What kind of a person am I? He was struggling in the world of ruach. Hence, every pasuk that he refers to this is talking about ruach. It's Gaval. This is what he was talking about. He wasn't talking about the world of Asiya. He was Musudar in the world of Asiya, as are so many of us. See, like I say like this, that, if you look at rabbinic figures, great rabbinic figures, you have those that are poskim, you have those that are Balei Musar, you have those that are Mekubalim, or Rebbes, or as however you want to put it. There are those that are dealing with the Maisa, there are those that are dealing with the Ruach, and that's why I say the larger part of Ruach. So the Balei Musar are talking about not what did I do, what didn't I do, but why did I do that? So the Cheshbon HaNefesh, which leads to Ruach, is Chalev, Ruach Acheres Hoisabai. Ruach Acheres. It was different. It wasn't just the Maisa. It's coming from a deeper place. Mekubalim are dealing with the Neshama, so you have Nefesh, Ruach, Neshama, you have Ki'ilu, Machshava, Dibur, Maisa, Poskim, Balei Musar, Mekubalim. All good. It's all important. But the Tehillim is really, to a large degree, a Musardik Inyan where we're trying to come into contact with that idea.
It's also Shlish Dvarim Ba'ilmayim at Torah that each one is corresponding to.
Let's try in a minute, but for sure Torah. So I'm going to explain something that Torah, like Limud Torah, where does that belong?
Neshama.
Depends what you're learning. It's not like Yosef Chassidim is Maisa, so it's not Neshama.
Torah, Avodah, Gvilas Chasadim. So Gvilas Chasadim is Maisa, right? Shuva Tefillah Tzak. So Avodah is Ruach. So is that what you're saying? And Torah is Dibur, or is it the other way?
I was saying maybe it's the other way.
Maybe it is the other way.
Both of them are a bit of both.
Machlekes. What's the machlekes? That the Balatanya, the Rav Shulchan Aruch, the Kutras Achron, Hilchos Talmud Torah says you're not Yotze Divrei Torah unless you're Dibur.
What are you doing? Maisa.
Dichsiv v'dibarta bo. It's Kufa Maisa, but it's still called the Lav Shein by Maisa, or if it's a Lav. So you have to do Dibur. V'dibarta bo v'lachein maharin Divrei Torah b'makamati noifus. You're allowed to be maharin Divrei Torah because the mitzvah Talmud Torah is b'dibur. The Gaon says no. He brings many rights to cross the Gra that the mitzvah Talmud Torah is b'machshava. You might do dibur articulate it or to understand it better, but the mitzvah of Talmud Torah, and he explains Mahar B'divrei Torah Makam Atunayfus, he explains the difference between shiur and machshava. Different idea. But so, hence, if you'll open a Siddur Nusach Hari, you'll see the bracha on the Berachos HaTorah, Asher Kishanu Mitzvah Tzivanu, Al Divrei Torah. And if you open up the Nusach Ashkenaz Al Pi Agra, Asher Kishanu Mitzvah Tzivanu, Lasoik B'divrei Torah. So this is a machlokes where Torah belongs to the world of machshava, or whether it belongs to the world of according to the Gra, it's good. Torah, avoda, which has to be bebitui sfasayim, and gemilas chasad. If you're a Lubavitcher, you have to say avoda, Torah, gemilas chasad. You want to go to order, but okay. So that's an example of how this shaila here druk sechais lamaisa.
When Am Rishon was created, the essential part of his creation is when he was given neshama, or ruach and neshama. So when we say shechazar to be in the morning, then the neshama that returned, like, is that me returning to my goof, or is there something?
No, that's the biggest raya, that the neshama is an outside thing.
So then what is me? I'm not the goof.
I'm my goof. With my Nefesh HaBahamas. Me is my Nefesh HaBahamas. No question in my mind. Existentially speaking, me is my Nefesh HaBahamas.
So when we die...
My character, my personality, my natural inclinations, my talents, that's all part of Nefesh HaBahamas. Nothing bad about Nefesh HaBahamas. That's why the Ramchal switched it my chiyunit.
So what is it living on after we die?
Oh, so what is dying? So dying... the Rambam goes on in this exact same Rambam that I was reading you, that as I started saying, the inyan of Misa is that your Nefesh HaBahamas dies.
But we're coming back.
Unhooks the train. It unhooks the train. The neshama is not ours. The bee dies, which is now the neshama will go into its own world where it came from. Everything goes where it came from. The goof came from the Ards, so it goes back to the Ards. The neshama came from Kodesh, it goes back to Kodesh.
So why say Kodesh, or why do anything for someone who has died?
Maybe for the neshama.
But the neshama...
So you're asking an excellent question. What did the neshama do wrong? What did the neshama get to Einish? What's the whole Einish and what's Charav Einish? So we need to get to that. But that's an extremely important, where is Bechira? But I just if everything in the world is made out of Arba Yesodos, everything has to return to that. So it's very interesting. Lahavdil, the other religions of the world hold that it's better to cremate a person because put him back to Aish, and the Hindus hold better to put him in the Mayim. There's like Gandhi someplace in the water. So you just sprinkle him in the water or burial by sea. And the others hold that Mefazer Baruach. Sounds like Bittul Chametz here. It's a question of, and we say that, look, it says in the Chumash that the person was created be offer haaretz and la'offer tashuv. So in other words, what we're taking is the element of offer, and we're burying them that way. That's what we're doing with the mace, and that's, by the way, pshat in a person. So it's funny to think about it this way because we're alive, Baruch Hashem, and well. But elu hein minan nikbarim. There are certain different types of hektish that you have to bury. Some you could burn, some you could bury. So a person is one of the nikbarim. So, but all of these ideas of cremation and other ways of disposal of a human body, all have to religious ways, all have to do with where it came from. The neshama then unhooks from it. And goes back to its creator, to the Olam HaNeshamas Beseder. But what we're talking about over here, death, we're talking about the Nefesh HaBahamas, which is simply the Kli. So now, at 120 years, the Kli is ausgespielt. You did your thing, or you should have done your thing, of bringing whatever your Neshama brought to the table, and bringing that into this world. And that was your chance. You had a chance. And now the neshama goes back. Neshama yeredas l'toich haguf. You're allowed to sleep and do a shtickle misa also at night. you sleep. But now when the neshama goes back, and either you did it or you didn't do it. It's a simple, maybe al pi kabbalah, you can try again, gilgulim. But ultimately, this was the being alive here for these few years that we're alive, having this nefesh habahamis before it decomposes. Is all the chance that we have to bring the Malchus HaKadosh Baruch Hu into this world.
Doesn't the
Malchus.
neshama get infected by some of the...
Oh, so that gets into what's going on with the neshama afterwards,
Right.
and what is the onesh, and we tend to describe these onshim in physical terms. This is going to hurt, that's going to hurt, because that's what we can relate to. But
Yeah,
obviously, those are inyanim of neshamas don't have a nervous system. It's not about pain. I don't know what is that. I haven't been there. Never want to be there. But there's also the neshama which didn't fulfill its tachlis and can't go back because it didn't fulfill its tachlis. And then the Mekubalim tell us about this kafakela. Like all of a sudden the neshama becomes a ping pong ball, like going back from olam haza to olam haba. So that's the pits. There's all kinds of things that I don't know. But what I do want to say is that what the Rambam says before, and he says that he chazers this again in Hilchos Tshuva, that the death is the death of the Nefesh HaBahamis. I just want to make another point here, if I can take another minute or two. That just like we said, Torah flirts between Machshava and Dibur. There are other things that flirt between Dibur and Maisa. So, for instance, anybody who says Karbanas Kilu Hikriv Karban. So here we're taking Dibur, and we're somehow upgrading it to the Indian of a carbon. Or similarly, we say,
Why is it an upgrade?
meaning we're doing something in the world of Asiya, but that we haven't got a way to do it in the... Okay, that's my Dibur. So that's why, first of all, Tefillah has to be B'Dibur, and Karbanas has to be B'Dibur, but it's Kihilu Hikri of Karban. So in other words, that is an upgrade, because in your makir of a carbon, so that needs tshuva, and that needs machshava to it also. It needs dibur. You have to be amir on the carbon, and so it's kilu hikr of carbon. So it's another case of davening, if you will, or particularly karbanos, stand between dibur and maisa. Similarly, between dibur and maisa. Similarly, says Ezra Tikilam Li Yisrael in the Megillah, that we should read Parshas Kisavai before the end of the year, Tichla Shana V'Kilu Leiseha. So by reading the Teichacha and Parshas Kisavai, so we're Kilu Yoitza the Klolos. Why are we Yoitza the Klolos? So what? We read the book about the Klolos. The answer is that just like you can speak Karbanos, and it's if you brought a carbon, you can speak Klolos, and it's as if you had the Klolos. It's a better deal. So tichla shana v'kilu leiseh, and you find a lot of this shomeya ke'oina. It's a chiddush of the Torah. I can make a bracha, you're yotze the bracha. Shomeya ke'oina. So how does it work? I'm going from machshava to maisa, but I'm not doing any maisa. I'm just doing shomeya. There's no maisa involved at all. So here you have another. What's the right word? I'm not. Flirting is probably the wrong word. What?
Interface?
You have another.
Interchange.
Yeah, but between shremeya, which is shmiya, same thing by Kriyas HaTorah. You're listening. You don't have to say the words with it. By the way, if you're going with the Rav Shulchan Aruch, you do have to say the words with it. They say the words to themselves because they hold the Torah is in the bechina of dibur and not in the bechina of. Not the bechina of Maisa. But just the final thing that I want to say is like this: that there are three. There's another trifecta here in the history of Klal Yisrael. We have the ability to use our logic, nefesh. We have the ability to access a higher form of logic, ruach hakodesh. We have an ability to hear what Hashem is saying, nevuah. nevuah, neshama, ruach hakodesh, ruach, logic, nefesh, ruach, neshama. It's three ways. We've lost the ability for nevuah. So the Gemara says in Moed Katan, Adayin ruach hakodesh emedes. Shmuel HaKatan had ruach hakodesh. You still access ruach hakodesh, maybe even until today. And Torah Shabbat Peh, which the Chachamim brought into this world, was all about, first of all, about Peh. Peh is deeper, but it's all about machshava. In fact, you could probably be machalik in whether Divrei Torah needs words or doesn't need words, whether you talk about Torah Shabbat and Torah Shabbat Peh. Torah Shabbat is all about the words, and Torah Shabbat Peh is all about the machshava. But the last point that I wanted to bring this morning is that, again, three ways of accessing information. You can access information through your neshama, nevuah, through your ruach hakodesh, which we could all try to grab a little bit of ruach hakodesh when you're naming a baby. So ruach hakodesh. There's some kind of a, and then there's the nefesh habahamis, which is also, when we talk about intuition, scientifically, intuition is about what's our natural response to things. Intuition is not accessing logic.
We say gut feeling.
Gut feeling. So
Common sense.
Sixth sense.
whatever you want to call it. I'm calling it intuition because that's what the scientists call it. But if I know something intuitively, so does a cat. He knows he should be here. Yodea shark koinegu.
Not bina.
Not bina. No, but it's interesting. Intuition is stronger by women than it is by men because women are, as by Esther Kargoilam, it's more part of this world. There's a stronger nefesh of that sort going on by an isha. So bina yisera nerdas lahem. But it's so these three stages. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. I just want to open your eyes to this. It's everywhere. I listed from my own list. I listed 5 out of 50.
Aren't they also like in machshava you have all three?
In all three, you have all three.
Even in the machshava level, you have each one of those.
In all three, you have all three. If I keep on saying it's the last thing I want to say, but I can't stop talking. I'm sorry. My dibur is good. But no, but I just want to say that you do a mitzvah. So if you do a mitzvah shaloi lishma, so the Arizal says you do a tikkun in the olam of asiyah, but chaval, you didn't create a hizgashus to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You did something good. You gave tzedakah. It's a good thing, But if you do it shaloi lishma, you still gave tzedakah. So you did something. But if you do it lishma, so now you've access to a higher place. Now you're being miskasher to a higher place. The Hasidim and the Mekubalim want to put a oifen of dibur there. Hineni muchan mezum and l'kaim is his essay. I think it's good enough. We say bracha, you do a mitzvah, and then you add the lineage of dibur. Asher kichanu mitzvayis v'tzivanu lahaniach tefillin. But we don't make a bracha on everything like by tzedakah. So most of the hineni muchans are very important, like by the places where we don't have the dibur. But and then there's the machshava. That's the dibur, and then there's the machshava, which is the kavana. So here's what I want to say: that if you do a mitzvah correctly, nefesh ruach neshama, then it takes off itself. You don't have to access chaya and yichidah, which is why we don't talk about it that much. It's automatic. It's there. It's flying up to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Yom HaKadosh Lama. It's a mitzias that there's another two parts to the neshama, but it's unimportant to us because it's not our avodah anymore. Have a good time.